It's time for another totally legitimate SketchBox. Never mind the fact that I didn't even remember to slap a logo sticker on it, it's totally the real thing. Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. It's another NoBoxArtBox video, and this time I'm replicating the December 2020 Premium SketchBox experience. I'll have all my usual box contents, prices, and the savings details in the description box down below for both the basic and premium tier boxes. If you're unfamiliar with the NoBoxArtBox challenge, it's quite simple. Step 1, pick any art or craft subscription box service, pick a month that has already been mailed out, and look at the contents. Step 2, match the contents as close as possible using only items you already own. Exact matches are fine as long as you're not replicating a box you actually received and that box is the only reason you own that item. If that's the case, move on to the next closest match in your collection. Step 3, make art. Use only the supplies you've matched, and if the original box had a challenge prompt or theme, try to stick to it. Only add missing essentials such as a pencil or a piece of paper. If you do this challenge and post it to social media or YouTube, use the hashtag NoBoxArtBox, all one word, so we can all find it. It doesn't have to be the same box I've done today. Do whatever box speaks to you. If you do a YouTube video, feel free to send me a link or post it in the comments on any of my NoBoxArtBox videos so I can add it to the official NoBoxArtBox master playlist. The reason the December Sketchbox piqued my interest is because it included a watercolor powder, which I've never tried before and do not own, but I have an idea of how to replicate it. See if you can figure out what I did before I get to it on the list of supplies. First on the list of items in the December 2020 premium box was a Hahnemühle 4x6 inch toned watercolor pad in the shade Cappuccino. This is a 200 GSM watercolor pad with 15 sheets total, and MSRP is $18.88 US. As usual, I'll convert prices to Canadian dollars and Great British pounds in the description box. I don't have toned watercolor paper, so I had a choice. Do I want to replicate the watercolor paper aspect or the toned paper aspect? I chose toned. I'm using a piece of Strathmore 400 series Art Again toned paper, which is a fine-toothed 160 GSM paper, and I've cut this piece down to 4x6 inches like the pad included in the real box. Next was a 6-pencil set of custom SketchBox branded watercolor pencils in an earthy color palette. The MSRP was $13.99 US, which works out to $2.33 per pencil, and that's on par with the MSRP on OpenStock Derwent watercolor pencils, so we'll assume they're about the same quality. The colors included were 2 greens, one more desaturated than the other, an ultramarine range blue, and warm-toned brown, yellow, and orange. To replace these, I'm using Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils, which are a bit higher in quality, but I don't have a wide range of Derwent pencils in the regular watercolor formula, so these are what we're using. The third item on the list is a 3-pack of Marabu water brushes. This pack includes a 3mm round, a 4mm round, and a 5mm flat, and the MSRP for the set is $8.99 US. I'm using 2 rounds and a flat of unknown size from a brand I don't remember off Amazon. They're comparable to the water brushes sold by Arteza. Next on the list is a pair of Marabu art crayons in the shades Terracotta and Caramel. MSRP is $2.99 each for a total of $5.98 US. These are soft, water-soluble art crayons similar to the Faber-Castell Gelatos, which I showed off during the full unboxing, but I only have an orange and a shimmering white, which doesn't replicate the color selection very accurately. In their place, I'm using a pair of Conte art sticks, which are also water-soluble, in the shades 07 and 17. The next item on the list is a 5mm tube of white gouache from Holbein. And now that I'm done and I'm writing this script, I must admit I'm a little confused. My notes say MSRP is $6.18 each, but then I've multiplied it for a total of $12.36 US, but I only have the white tube listed, and the basic box only received a white, albeit from a different brand. If the totals for this box sound like they could use another $6, then they probably also sent a black to the premium customers. I don't know. I'll be using Daler-Rowney Aquafine Gouache in titanium white, as it's the highest quality gouache I own and Holbein is professional grade. Next is the TCW Watercolor Sparx powder that caught my eye. This is a watercolor powder in the shade Olive, and MSRP is $6 US. To replicate this, I'm sanding bits of pigment off a Derwent Inktense pencil in the shade Light Olive. Watercolor powder can be dissolved in water and applied in a wash, it can be sprinkled onto dry paper and misted to activate, or it can be sprinkled onto wet paper and allowed to activate. I've chosen to sprinkle it onto dry paper and spritz it with water. The last item is the Derwent Line Maker in black in the 08mm nib size with an MSRP of $2.98 US. I only have a 0.2mm fineliner from Derwent, so I'll be using the 0.8mm from Winsor & Newton. I decided to do a sketch of a finch, though which species of finch, I don't know. An author I follow on Twitter photographs the birds that show up at his house, and today he posted a cute little red and gray finch, so that's why these little birds were on my mind. I searched for finch photos on Pixabay until I found one with a pop of orange, and this is the result. The original photo features the finch sitting on a brick in a garden, but I chose to leave the background more abstract so I could play with the textures created by the powdered watercolor stand-in. I would love to revisit this finch in a wider color palette, just one medium, more suitable paper, and higher quality brushes. That's not to say this wasn't a lot of fun, or that this isn't a good combination of supplies. I'm sure the actual box was a great experience. I expect the Marabu water brushes are higher quality than what I've got, and the Hahnemühle paper is 40 GSM heavier than the toned paper I used. The Artigain toned paper warped and buckled quite a bit when wet, which is expected since it's not meant to handle wet media, but it dried flat again easily, so it's not hopeless for this sort of task. This tells me it might be a great paper to use for colored pencil on top of a watercolor underpainting. I'd like to remind everyone that I'm taking a 2-week break over Christmas and New Year's. Next week's schedule will be normal with a book video on Monday, some undecided art video on Wednesday, and December's Art Addicts Lines video on Friday. And speaking of, if anyone is interested in unofficially participating, December's theme is a choice of doing something inspired by Studio Ghibli, redrawing a screen capture of any show or film, or combining those and redrawing a screen capture from a Ghibli film. Monday, December 21st will be my last book video of 2020, and Wednesday, 23rd will be my last art video for the year. I'll return on Friday, January 8th with an art video, and then book videos will be back on Monday, January 11th. If you choose to do the NoBoxArtBox challenge, don't forget to use the hashtag NoBoxArtBox, all one word, when you post your work, and feel free to send me links or drop them in the comments down below. Remember, you're welcome to do absolutely any art or craft box. It doesn't have to be this one or any of the ones I've done in the past. If you're looking for more to watch, I've got some suggestions up on the left side of the screen now. Don't forget to like, comment, maybe even subscribe, and if you like living life creatively, whatever that means to you, I'd love to have you along for the ride. Bye guys!